what's important is whether your job can help you build a meaningful life. Honestly, I think it's really hard when you are in your late 20s and you're single and you're trying to figure out like how to date during this period. So it's very different because I also think that some friendships can change and evolve. So sometimes they might be more closer to you at certain stages in your life. And hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'll be talking about what it's like to navigate my late 20s, and yeah, I'll be talking about career, relationships, friendships, and finances, things like that. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit more personal than my usual videos because I've been making a lot of career related videos. If you haven't checked it out, I make videos about transitioning from occupational therapy to digital marketing. So yeah, let's get to it. So if you can hear something in the background, it's probably my fan down here. It's just really hot today. It's going to be 42 degrees and I'm about to head out because I can't stay in this heat. But anyways, I wanted to start off with career and then we'll get more into the personal stuff. So in terms of navigating career, I've talked a lot about this in my other videos, but basically wanted to make it a little bit more personal and talk about my journey and how I feel about where I'm at. And yeah, so basically it has been a pretty long journey of me trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, and honestly it hasn't been easy. Ever since I was young, I always wanted to do something creative, something in design and like fashion design, but I realized that my hobby and my job doesn't have to be the same thing. And I realized what's important is whether your job can help you build a meaningful life outside of work. And this is something that I wish my younger self knew, because it would have like helped me feel less I guess like disappointed about my choices in what I was like studying or where I was at. And like what that means is like a job that allows you financially to like do things that you love and achieve the things that you want. So for example, if you want to buy a house for your family, if you want to travel the world, do you have the financial means to do that? It's not just money, but it's also time. So does your job allow you to have time to travel, have time to spend time with your family or your loved ones, have time to do the things that you love? I do think time is a very precious thing that nothing can buy time. So do you think if like that's like a very important aspect of a job that I look at. Another thing is like whether your job allows you to maintain a healthy physical and mental state. So like if you are working long hours, not getting enough sleep, you're constantly stressed, constantly anxious, is that really worth like the money or worth doing the job? So this is something that I've thought about a lot, and although you might be super passionate about what you do, but if you are not physically doing well, you are not sleeping, I think it's time to see are there strategies that you can take that allows you to de-stress a little bit. Is there things that you can do that can make your work less stressful, or is it because of this job that you just constantly can't take care of your health? So yeah, that's kind of like what I really learned in the past few years. Another thing that I've learned is that I don't have to care about my title or what other people think about my job to do that job. Like, I don't have to choose a job that everyone admires. So when I was young, I always wanted to do something that I was able to help people as well. And so I looked into like mainly health courses and science courses, and because I felt like, okay, like it makes sense, like if I do something in healthcare I can make a impact and help people. But I realized that I don't have to, like the only way to help people is not only through healthcare. And I also realized that I can help people through different ways, either through my job or through my outside my job as well. So like being a kind person, having good values, being there for my loved ones whenever I can is really enough, like for me. Obviously I do want to do a job where I am able to make an impact, but I realize that it's not only I can't say it. It's not only healthcare where I can do this, basically what I'm saying. So let's talk about finances. So just my finances, I definitely say that overall I'm really proud of myself for being able to financially support myself through this career transition. And I think some people think that, oh, I need to earn lots of money to feel like safe, secure and happy. For sure you can feel more secure, like in terms of like, oh, having money to, you know, have food on the table, things like that, and to achieve the things that you want. But in terms of happiness, I don't think money is the thing that makes you happy, but it's more about how you spend that money. So I definitely think that this year I've been very intentional with where my money goes. So I actually started using an Excel sheet to budget. If you haven't checked that video, I can put a link, or yeah, this video is about how I budget, and this has helped me so much to literally say like to stay alive and surviving. Because if I didn't track how much money I was spending, I would have like tapped into my savings, and this is something that I don't want to do when it comes to my daily expenses. Because I have taken a pay cut, I have to be very strict on how much money I spend for certain things. So I can't just like recklessly like buy things that I want. So for example, if I see something online and I'm like, oh, like this might be something I want, like I have to think about it a bit longer. So I will wait a few days to see if I still want it, and if I wanted it, then I would have to make sure that I am staying within my budget for that category. So for example, if it was a clothing, then I'll have to see like, do I still have money left in that category to like buy this? So yeah, if I don't, then I won't buy it for that month and maybe wait for another month. So yeah, if you're in a similar boat to me and you have to be a little bit like careful with your money, I definitely recommend you to track how much you spend, and or have like a rule of like, I won't spend this much amount of money on these things. So create like a bucket of different buckets of how much you will spend on each thing. Another thing, I do think a lot of people might compare themselves to other people their age or even younger. So I fall into this trap of like going on TikTok or social media, and I'm seeing like people post about, oh, I just bought a house, or I have my second property, or I earn like 6 digits, like, and then I just like end up like comparing myself to them, like, oh, why am I not there yet? Like, is there something wrong? Like, am I doing something wrong here? But it's really toxic, because no one is in the same, like, even though we might be the same age, it's not like we're in the same life stage. We have very different upbringings, we have very different values, we have very different circumstances. So how our life pans out is going to be different. What happens to you one day might be different from another person. So you can never really compare yourself to peers your age or even younger. So don't ever compare yourself to anyone, because only compare yourself to the version of you like before. So like who you were before, the day before, and work from that point. And that's something that I've been really focusing on as well. Let's talk about relationships. So this is something that I am always navigating. Relationship, friendships. I feel like these things I've always like tried really hard to understand, and it's because these are things that are important to me. Connection and people are important to me. People that I love are important to me. So I think it's very natural for me to want to make things work and to make things healthier. So yes, let's talk about relationships. Don't know how much I will share because there's so many things that I can share about, but I guess I will just share things that I think would be helpful for anyone navigating it in their late 20s. So honestly, I think it's really hard when you are in your late 20s and you're single and you're trying to figure out like how to date during this period. So it's very different, because what I find is that at this age you know more about yourself, your personality, what are your deal breakers, like what are things that you look for in a partner, but also like you know more about what is compatible with you and what's not. And things, superficial things like looks and how much money they make, like it does matter in some sort of way, but I don't think that's the main thing that will keep a healthy relationship lasting. So, and I've also noticed that people in their late 20s might also be in different life stages, so it's really like a tricky time for everyone. But I also think that because we live in this digital age where now there are like dating apps and Instagram and TikTok and things like that, like it's a very weird time to be looking for a partner. And I realized that like it's gonna, how our parents dated is going to be different from how we date. So like it's not going to be the same. So the advice that you ask from someone in a different generation will be obviously different from now. So what has helped me the most is by listening to my friends and also seeking out therapy as well. If you are going through like a change or transition, I definitely recommend therapy as a option. But I think also books has helped me a lot too, reading books about relationships but also like self-development. So as you're bettering yourself, you're gonna naturally attract someone who is similar to you. So this is my true believer. There is no point of trying to make people like you, trying to constantly seek for validation, because as long as you're working on yourself to be who you want to be, naturally the same person is going to gravitate to you. And I see relationships in such a different way now. I used to see it in just like rose-tinted lens, that like I'm just gonna find someone that naturally like is compatible with me and everything's just gonna be easy and there's no arguments, there's no differences. But to be honest, like there's no one that's gonna be exactly the same as you. Even me and my twin, we still fight, we still have disagreements. So like it's like obviously going to have differences with your partner. So for me, partnership is something where you work together. It's a choice for you to be in this partnership and you choose to communicate with each other in a healthy way to problem solve together so that both of your needs are met in some way. So yeah, and yeah, if you're struggling in terms of like feeling like you're left behind, or like, like, should I like put more effort into looking for a partner, things like that, don't feel pressured. I obviously feel the pressure too, especially when friends around you are getting married and getting engaged and like making long-term like goals. Don't feel like you are behind, because I would say that your time might not be now, but it's not like it's not gonna come ever. And I do truly think that when you are when you're older, you do know more, so your relationship is gonna be so much more mature, and you're going to have a partner that's gonna be mature as well. So don't think you're missing out on anything. I do think a lot of people are still trying to figure out like who they are at this age, so don't think that you're missing out on anything. But yes, but that's basically kind of what I've learned. But I think another thing is like understanding your past is so important too. So how your relationship with people and your family, things like that. So trying to understand your past traumas is really important when it comes to relationships. And this is something that I've talked about in my like previous videos before I created my career videos. And whenever you go through something, obviously your brain's going to think it's normal. So when you want a healthy relationship, it's good to understand how you view a healthy relationship, what you can tolerate, what you can't, what are the red flags, and like when it's time for you to leave a relationship as well. And also trust your intuition and gut feeling. If you feel like you're not safe, if you're feeling that you're not compatible with someone, it's okay to let them know and to say goodbyes and to wish them the best, because I do think that the relationship shouldn't be too hard, that you are making too many sacrifices, compromising too much of your values, any values really, and having your boundaries crossed because there's just incompatibilities. So yeah, I guess I'll end the video by talking about friendships. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about because I really value my friendships, and I really think that my friends have become my family. And I think it's because I come from a very small family that I feel like my friends have naturally like been there for me through the hardest times. So things that I never knew, I guess, when I was younger, is that friendships can change depending on like your life stage, where you live, but also like how much time you have, and also like when you don't have a physical place to keep you together, that can also change friendships too. And I do think friendships is similar to relationships, where you choose to make a friendship work, you choose to put effort into making it better and to make it healthy. And there might be moments where it's not as good as other times. You might be more distant, or you might build some sort of resentment towards them because they're not like reaching out to you or something like that. But these are very normal feelings, but it's good to communicate to your friends about these things. And I think this is what makes a friendship so much more stronger, is when you can communicate and not build resentment, not talk behind each other's back. And I also think that some friendships can change and evolve. So sometimes they might be more closer to you at certain stages in your life, and sometimes not, and it's okay. It doesn't really mean anything about anyone, like no one's bad or anything. It just means that you're not at a stage, both of you are not at the stage in life where you can support each other. and that is okay. Like, there are other people that might be able to provide that support. Yeah, and I also think that friendships in your late 20s are so much more like deep, and I don't know if it's because like you're like, because if you, especially if you grew up with these friends, they've been through a lot with you, you understand each other at such like a deeper level. There is literally nothing that I hide from my friends. Like, I feel like I can really talk about anything, really, like my insecurities, what I'm struggling with. And yeah, I think I've learned a lot about boundaries as well, like putting my needs first is also, because if you are a people pleaser, you might put people's needs first, and in friendships that can happen. So when you learn how to like build boundaries with friendships, you feel so much more safe and heard, and your friendships become so much more healthier. So yeah, basically I feel quite like positive about being my late 20s. Obviously there are days when I do feel the opposite, and it's such a weird time because I don't know, it's not just about the age, but it's also about like where our society is going, being in the digital world. But yeah, what are your thoughts? And share with me in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.